At Vijapur, the news that Shivaji has killed Afzal Khan fell like a bomb. First, they did not believe the news and they felt sad and became very angry afterwards. They decided to send another chieftain, that is Siddhi Zohar from Kurnool in Karnataka, to defeat Shivaji Raje. This time, the number of soldiers and ammunition was doubled. The news of his advance reached Shivaji Raje at Miraz. He lifted the siege of the city and took shelter at Fort Panhala. He always took care that the war should be done in enemy area or border of his own kingdom. This minimized the losses of his kingdom. He arranged to get additional storage of food grains and ammunition at urgent basis. Siddhi Zohar was happy to see that only hearing his news of his arrival, Shivaji Raje had made a retreat from Miraz. He reached Panhala and started arranging a tight siege. He was not going to allow passage of any person to help Shivaji Raje. Shivaji Raje was observing his activities from fort. When the siege was complete, Shivaji Raje and his men got confined to the area surrounded by fortifying walls. Months passed, but Siddhi did not allow the siege to become loose. Meanwhile, Netoji Palkar tried to attack the siege from outside, but Siddhi was clever. His spies gave him news of his arrival in time, and Netoji Palkar was defeated and had to make a retreat. Shivaji Raje was hopeful that soon monsoon would start and Siddhi would have to lift the siege due to rains. But his spies brought a bad news. Siddhi had started gathering dry hay from neighboring villages, covering roofs of tents with the hay and adapting his tents for monsoon. This meant that he was in no mood of leaving the place in monsoon. This worried Shivaji Raje and his nobles. They might have to surrender or try to escape. Escaping was very difficult task because the siege was very tight. They waited for the monsoon to start so that some solution might emerge. When monsoon was in full force, water streams started flowing down from the fort. This part of the streams were difficult for surveillance. There was high level of water sound due to splash of water. Visibility was low. Endurance of guards was waning, so they would stay in tents and keep watch outside. This was an opportunity for escaping. It was not easy or it was not having less risk. If someone would see them escaping, that would be end of their life. But they decided that they have to take this risk. There was no other way to free themselves. Shivaji Raje used different solution every time. Never used same trick again. This surprised the enemies and made him successful every time. This time, he sent his old counsel Gangadhar Pant to meet Siddhi. Gangadhar Pant traveled down the fort with a white flag in his hand. All people in the siege saw this white flag. This meant unconditional surrender. He met Siddhi and pleaded that all sources were depleting on the fort and Shivaji Raje had no other option but to surrender. His only request was safety of his men. Siddhi agreed to this. When this was going to happen, the next day was the day to surrender. The council came out of Siddhi's tent and instead of going to the fort, he met many people. He informed them that Shivaji Raje has decided to surrender and will be climbing down the fort next morning. Everybody in the siege was happy to know about this. They were tired of the rainy season, cold atmosphere of Maharashtra, and wanted to go back to Karnataka. Shivaji Raje's spies were sending information to the fort that the soldiers in siege are happily drinking liquor and having special food as if it was a festival. This pleased Shivaji Raje. After sunset, he started preparation. He asked 600 Mawle soldiers from troop of Bandal Deshmukh to become ready for travel. No light was to be used. It was a night of no moon, that is, Amavasya. He explained the plan to the group leaders. They would be using the most difficult path of roaring water streams to climb down. They have to move fast and silently. Where were they going? Only a few of them were knowing. At midnight, they extinguished all the lamps, created complete darkness at the gates, and opened the gates. They moved out and went to the west side and started climbing down. It was raining heavily, but still they kept moving bravely. Soon they reached the part of siege where many tents could be seen and guards were inside the tents. They had to pass through this part of siege without being noticed by guards. It was very difficult. Fortunately, God of rains helped them by pouring down more and more water, and they could achieve this safely. Once they traveled a safe distance, they started running towards Vishalgarh fort. Now they had to rush. Unfortunately, after some travel, they were spotted by a small patrolling team of Siddhi Johar. The patrolling team came to know about their escape and they suddenly moved away on their horses to inform Siddhi Johar. Shivaji Raje could not capture or kill them. Now, quick decision had to be made. Shivaji Raje was sitting in a palanquin and another palanquin was empty. They were having a look alike of Raje with them and he was dressed in Shivaji Raje's attire. His name was Shiva Kashid. He sat into the second palanquin and started traveling on the normal route while Shivaji Raje started traveling on another route unknown to others. Shiva Kashid was knowing that soon he is going to be captured and killed, but he was ready to do the sacrifice of his precious life for Shivaji Raje, Hindavi Swaraj, and Hindu Dharma. Such sacrifice by common people made the survival of Hindavi Swaraj a reality. When the patrolling team reached tent of Siddhi Johar and gave him the news, he got frustrated and angry at the same time. His relentless efforts of months would be wasted if Shivaji Raje would escape really. He was not going to allow this. He sent Siddhi Masood with 2,000 horsemen immediately and ordered him to bring Shivaji Raje dead or alive. Siddhi's men rushed into the dark and soon captured a palanquin carrying Shivaji Raje. Oh, so sad. They cheered and came to Siddhi's camp with him. Siddhi was happy but asked his trusted men to check if he was Shivaji Raje or someone else. They gave instant report that he was not the real Shivaji Raje but fake. Siddhi was so angry that he ordered instant death to Shiva Kashi and shouted to Siddhi Masood to rush again. Siddhi Masud started again, and in the morning he could see running Shivaji Raje at some distance. They had reached Gajapur. Shivaji Raje also came to know that cavalry of enemy was soon going to catch them all. It would be end of their game. But Baji Prabhu, who was captain of Bandal troop, came forward and told him that now they need to make two parts of their soldiers' troops. With 300 soldiers, he will defend the narrow pass of Gajapur, and with 300 soldiers, Shivaji Raje should continue his run towards Fort Vishalgarh. He should blow cannons after reaching there safely, and only after the sound of cannons is heard, Baji Prabhu will allow any enemy to march through the pass. This was a very difficult decision for Shivaji Raje. For him, life of every soldier was equally important. But Baji Prabhu insisted on his plan, and Shivaji Raje had to accept the plan. He rushed ahead, and Baji Prabhu set his arrangement for defending the pass. He asked the archers to set themselves at suitable attacking position from where they could target approaching enemies. He made teams of soldiers to block the path and kill approaching enemies using swords, spears, and other weapons. Soon, enemy reached their position and fierce battle started. They were killing every enemy soldier who was reaching the pass. When the front soldiers tired, the back team would ask them to take rest and they would come forward to defend. Many of them would get hurt by enemy's weapons and they would be carried away to safe place behind. Some of them would die due to wounds and blood drain, but no one of them was coward to flee. They knew that their sacrifice would keep their king and their Hindu dharma safe. The battle which started in the morning and finished in evening when they heard the sound of cannons. They were all tired, but they were waiting for sound indicating safe arrival of Shivaji Raje at Fort Vishalgarh. When they heard the sound, they saluted Shivaji Raje by pointing their eyes towards Vishalgarh, and their souls left their bodies. It was a supreme sacrifice which has become everlasting inspiration for all Hindus. This sacrifice was honored by Shivaji Raje by giving the name Pavanakind, that is sacred pass, to the Gajapur pass. While Baji Prabhu was fighting at Gajapur pass, Shivaji Raje had reached the foothill of Fort Vishalgarh and he had to fight enemy forces trying to siege that fort also. He successfully defeated enemy and entered into the fort. Siddhi Masud soon reached there and started strengthening the siege. Shivaji Raje decided to escape from there at the earliest. He moved safely to Rajgarh. He had to deal with Shahista Khan, who was now Mughal Subedar of Deccan and staying in Lal Mahal, that is, home of Shivaji Raje in Pune. All over Pune, his military camp was spread. His soldiers were looting villages all over Maharashtra. If he was not checked, he might have destroyed complete wealth of Hindavi Swaraj. How Shivaji Raje tackled this new problem, this new challenge, we will learn in our next episode. But before that, like this video, share and subscribe the channel. Thank you very much. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj ki Jai.